Interesting fact, dynamite is used to put out fires. In the early days of the oil boom, oil well fires were common, dangerous, and killed thousands of people. Nobody could figure out how to safely extinguish the fires until one man started using dynamite. Imagine the sales pitch. I can help you put your fire out, but we're going to blow shit up. Yes, that's correct. We'll be using dynamite, and no, I'm not 100% sure it'll work. 100 years later, they're still using dynamite for oil well fires. Using dynamite for fire does not take away the other uses of dynamite. It adds value. But I think sometimes it's easier to put something in a box that we're more comfortable with and put a label on it, explosive. Sadly, we don't do this with just dynamite. We do this with people. We stick them in a box, smack a label on them. And then when we're in that box, we box up our creativity, our passion, and our authenticity because we're scared of failure, rejection, judgment, or just truly being seen. Guilty. I'm a 22-year veteran of the fire service. I currently serve as a battalion chief for a fire protection district. And to give you a little perspective, women make up about 4% of the fire service. And women in chief officer roles like mine are so small, they don't even track us. I've spent a good part of my life in a box with labels like too much, too bossy, too enthusiastic, too passionate, too masculine, too feminine, I know it all, I don't know anything. You get the point. It made life and leading challenging and exhausting. I am a leader. I work in a male-dominated profession. And my value as a woman and as a leader does not take away the value of my brothers and sisters. I add value through my perspective, my strengths, and the fire inside me that lights my soul. Who were you before you got boxed up? What are you passionate about? Who supports you? How do you find value in authenticity? Well, first, you got to find your fire. Then you have to use your fire. And finally, you have to own your fire. Joining the fire service was natural for me. I'm a third-generation firefighter following my dad and my grandpa. I love my job. I get to serve my community, help people, and the women and men that I work with are incredible. The fire service is deeply rooted in tradition. So deep that at times, progress and change can be slow and frustrating. I can't tell you how many times I've asked the question, why are we doing it this way? And the answer, it's the way we've always done it. Leading felt similar. I had a seat at the table, but the table felt small, the chair was rickety, and I felt like I was just checking a box. I was not being authentic. My family tree is full of strong, resilient, badass women who have never let boxes or labels define them. My Aunt Gold was the first female aerospace engineer for Lockheed in the 1940s. She was a true hidden figure. Most of her work is still classified. She was the first female on the original Skunk Works project, and she co-authored several planetary manuals for NASA, including one on space travel to Venus and Mars. She showed me I can reach for the stars and that I can be successful in a male-dominated profession. My grandma Meyer was a resilient woman. She was born in Park Hill, Oklahoma, and sent to the Haskell Indian School in Kansas. She came to Colorado in the 1920s for college. While she was in college, she worked as a camp counselor, hosted her own radio show, and was the third woman to summit the north face of Long's Peak. She did this 3 times. She was a tough lady. She had a tough life, and she was very intimidating. My mom referred to her as the warden, and when I was little, I called her the scary grandma. But as I grew up and got to know her and her story, I developed a profound love and respect for her. When she was almost 99, I went back to visit her. She still lived in her same house independently, still drove her own car, and was still sharp as a tack. We were sitting in her living room watching the New York Mets, and she was having her afternoon cocktail, Jack Daniels on the rocks. I told you she was tough. We were having a conversation, and I think she could sense I was struggling. And in the middle of our conversation, she just looked at me very matter-of-factly and said, "Diane, you come from generations of strong women who have blazed a trail in whatever path they choose. It is not a competition. Just be yourself and don't screw it up." No pressure, right? My grandma reminded me not only where I come from and who I am, but I am enough. She helped me find my fire. When I got back from the visit, something inside of me shifted. I could feel that fire, and it terrified me, so I went back to the box. And I stayed there for about 5 years. That fire was relentless, and it continued to burn until it blew up my life, professionally and personally. I could never go back to the way things had always been. Blowing up my life sent me into a darkness. Not only did I hit rock bottom, but I found the trap door in rock bottom and fell even deeper. It was in that crawl space of rock bottom that I started to put the pieces of my life back together, using authenticity as the glue. I promised myself and my son that moving forward, I would love and lead authentically. I started to use the fire inside me. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times I would rather stand in a burning building than risk getting burned by failure, rejection, and vulnerability. The truth is, authenticity has far-reaching effects than just self-improvement. Studies show that organizations with authentic leaders have empowered, loyal, happy employees. Authentic leaders can create and cultivate a culture of creativity and innovation, a psychologically safe place to be at work where everyone is valued for who they are. Everyone has a seat at the table, and no boxes or labels are required. Brené Brown says, "You can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't choose both." Owning your fire takes courage. Learning to be uncompromising in your values, boundaries, self-care, and authenticity is not a one-and-done checklist. It is a daily practice that is hard, messy, and rarely perfect. You will burn too hot for some and never enough for others. But remember, that's not your problem. Your fire, your light, your authenticity doesn't diminish anyone else's. I have never suggested using dynamite literally. But authenticity will blow up egos, bullshit, and outdated structures. After 19 years, I left a big city department with that tiny table for an opportunity at a smaller organization with a big table that has room for authenticity and creativity. In the time that I've been in my organization, the percentage of women, 18%. And the percentage of women in leadership roles, 20%. Badass women go to where badass women are. Using your fire not only lights the path for you, you become a beacon and light for others to find you. Your authenticity will transcend labels and boxes and expand the possibilities for everyone.